I didn't hear the room at first, only the paper. Thin, legal, final. The boardroom smelled like polished wood and quiet power. 20 men, 3 women. All eyes sliding past me like I was already erased. My husband stood at the head of the table. CEO posture, practiced sympathy, rehearsed cruelty. His mother sat beside him, smiling, not kind, victorious. "Just sign," he said softly, like he was doing me a favor. Divorce papers, served at night, in front of his board, in front of his blood, in front of a future he had already edited me out of. My hand didn't shake. That seemed to disappoint them. I signed, slowly, carefully. Each letter a controlled breath. I felt my pulse in my throat, but my face stayed empty. Years of loving him had trained me well. That's when my phone vibrated. One message, unknown number. "Do not leave. Dad is coming." I didn't look up, not yet. Because fear has a sound when it enters a room, and I wanted to hear it arrive. I slipped the phone back into my bag as the doors exploded open. Wood cracked, voices stopped, and for the first time that night, my husband went pale. I used to believe betrayal announced itself. Screams, lipstick stains, late nights with bad excuses. I was wrong. Betrayal whispers. It schedules itself between meetings. It smiles at family dinners. He had been distant for months. Not cold, worse, polite, efficient, like I was a task he'd already completed. He stopped touching me without explanation. Stopped arguing. Stopped caring enough to fight. That was the first clue. The second was his mother. She started correcting me in public. Interrupting, smirking when I spoke. Asking questions that felt like rehearsed traps. "Do you really understand how the company works? Are you sure you belong at these meetings?" I did not answer. I watched. The third clue came one night when I reached for his phone. Mine was dead. And he flinched. A microsecond. Enough. I didn't accuse. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I calculated. I started listening more than speaking. I memorized patterns, calendar gaps, deleted messages that left shadows behind. A woman whose name never appeared, yet somehow occupied entire evenings. He was building an exit. I was being managed. Still, I smiled. Still, I played the obedient wife. Still, I walked into that boardroom believing this was the end they had written for me. What they didn't know was that I had already read the final page. And it didn't belong to them. I didn't turn around when my father walked in. I didn't need to. His presence rearranged the air. Conversations died mid-breath. The board members shifted, subtle, involuntary. Respect always exposes itself in moments like that. My husband swallowed. His mother's smile froze. Not cracked, frozen. My father didn't shout. He never did. He simply walked to the table and placed a thin folder down. Leather, old, heavy with consequences. "I was asked not to come," he said calmly. "So I knew I had to." Silence stretched. I counted heartbeats. My husband tried to recover. Straightened his cuffs. CEO mask back in place. "This is a private matter." My father looked at him like one looks at a miscalculation. "No," he said. "It's a structural failure." He slid the folder toward the center. I watched my husband's eyes move as he opened it. Phone records, private accounts, transfers masked as consulting fees, a woman on the payroll who didn't work. And then the clause he'd overlooked, the one I made sure existed. Infidelity nullified his majority stake. I didn't speak. Not yet. His mother leaned forward, color draining. "This is absurd." My father finally looked at her. Just once. "Your son married into leverage," he said, and forgot to read the fine print. My husband's hand shook. The board was no longer watching me. They were watching him. I stood, slowly. I picked up the divorce papers I'd already signed. "I knew," I said quietly. Not loud, not angry, just factual. I knew about her, about the money, about the plan to remove me publicly so the board wouldn't question the timing. He looked at me then. Really looked. "Why didn't you stop me?" he whispered. I smiled for the first time in months. "Because you were so sure I was powerless," I said. "And people tell the truth when they think they're safe." I placed the papers back on the table. "I signed because I don't need the marriage," I continued. "I only needed proof." My father nodded once. Security was already at the door. The board began to speak. Lawyers whispered. Futures recalculated themselves in real time. His mother reached for him. Too late, I picked up my bag, didn't look back. As I walked out, I felt something loosen inside my chest. Not relief. Clarity. Some losses don't break you. They expose who was holding the weight all along. I didn't watch the fallout. That's the thing people never understand. Revenge isn't loud. It doesn't need an audience. I heard about it later. Secondhand. Diluted. Stripped of drama. His stock options frozen. His name quietly removed from future agendas. The woman resigned before lunch. His mother stopped answering calls. He tried to reach me. Once, twice. Too late to matter. I had already left the city by then. Not running. Just finished. You don't stay in rooms where you've already won. Victory rots if you linger. In the hotel mirror that night, I barely recognized myself. Not because I looked broken. Because I didn't. No tears, no shaking hands. Just a woman who had finally stepped out of a long, carefully managed lie. I replayed the moment he'd asked, "Why didn't you stop me?" The answer was simpler than he could ever accept. Because stopping him would have saved the marriage. Letting him continue saved me. He wanted control. I wanted truth. And truth, once exposed, doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It doesn't negotiate. It just ends things. I thought I would feel empty, or victorious, or angry enough to choke on it. Instead, I felt light, like something parasitic had finally detached. Power isn't screaming in a boardroom. Power is walking away while everyone else scrambles to explain themselves. I signed those papers knowing exactly what they cost him and what they freed me from. Love shouldn't feel like surveillance. Marriage shouldn't feel like strategy. And anyone who needs to destroy you publicly to feel whole was already hollow long before you arrived. He lost more than a company that night. He lost the version of me that would have protected him. That woman died quietly, pen in hand, under fluorescent lights, while everyone laughed, certain I was finished. They were wrong. I didn't lose my husband. I lost a liability. And for the first time in years, I slept without guarding my heart. Because when betrayal finally showed its face, I didn't flinch. I watched it fall, silently,